the Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against one another in the WNBA.
For 5 years, basketball fans have witnessed one of the greatest rivalries in modern hoops, Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. Two high school phenoms who took different paths, Clark to Iowa, Bueckers to UConn. Clark dominated their college matchups, especially on the NCAA stage. Critics like Gino Orima once questioned if Clark's success would translate to the WNBA. Last night, the two finally faced off as pros, the Indiana Fever hosting the Dallas Wings. But what unfolded wasn't just a game. It was Clark making history once again, in a way only she's ever done before. If you're ready to hear about the record shattered that night, drop a CC record breaker in the comments. Let's go. Picture this. Two teenage basketball prodigies taking the nation by storm, destined to clash again and again. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers first met in high school, both elite recruits, but with totally different games. Clark brought explosive scoring, pinpoint passing, and limitless range. Bueckers countered with smooth efficiency, deadly mid-range touch, and court vision that matched Clark's brilliance.
Hey, Caitlin. You've known Paige since middle school, AAU. You guys were on the U19 World Cup team together. Is there anything that maybe stood out then about her, whether it be on or off the court, that maybe still reigns true today?
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it was me watching her in AAU, she's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She's just she just plays way older than she is. She's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels. And that's how she's always played. And that's obviously translated really well.
Their college paths couldn't have been more different. Bueckers chose the legendary UConn program under Gino Orima, joining a dynasty stacked with championship banners. Clark, meanwhile, picked Iowa, a program hungry to prove itself on the biggest stage. That choice set up epic NCAA tournament battles that came to define both players' legacies. Clark's Iowa squad crushed Bueckers' UConn dreams in March Madness, with Clark delivering monster performances when it mattered most, including a 41-point masterpiece that sent the Huskies home early. She outplayed Bueckers head-to-head, winning 2 of their 3 college matchups. Soon, basketball fans and analysts were taking sides, fueling a rivalry that grew beyond college hoops into something almost mythical.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Gino Orima had his share of criticisms about Clark's game. He questioned her shot selection and doubted whether she was truly ready for the WNBA compared to his own star, Bueckers. Orima believed Bueckers' fundamentals would translate better to the professional level. Clark's explosive scoring and Bueckers' smooth efficiency came to represent 2 completely different philosophies of basketball excellence.
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Both players eventually declared for the WNBA, and fans everywhere wondered when they'd finally meet as professionals. The stage was set for their first WNBA showdown, with Clark holding a 2-1 edge from their college battles, but now facing fresh questions about her pro game. The anticipation was massive. ABC picked up the matchup for a national broadcast, knowing it would draw fans from across the country. And with Clark's recent struggles with the Fever, this game carried even more weight for her reputation.
Our player development coach yesterday, and he was just sent me a few things of even Steph going through a slump. I think he was 27 for his last 70 or something like that. The best in the world go through it, and I think that's where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked. So, this isn't something that's going to last. And the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots. And I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that I make.
But here's where things get interesting. Clark's Fever were stumbling badly heading into this massive showdown. Indiana had just suffered embarrassing losses to teams they should have beaten. The L.A. Sparks and Golden State Valkyries handed them defeats that left fans scratching their heads. These weren't powerhouse squads. They were teams the Fever were expected to handle with ease.
I feel like this stretch, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road, and, we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself. No matter who you're playing, we play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, yes, All-Stars coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room is doing.
Behind the scenes, a quiet philosophical war was brewing between Clark's fast-paced vision and Coach Stephanie White's slower approach. Clark wanted to push the tempo and attack in transition, while White preferred a more controlled, half-court style of play. This clash of basketball philosophies created real tension within the organization. Clark thrived in transition, but White's system simply didn't allow for that explosive brand of basketball. The breaking point came during the Fever's game against the Atlanta Dream, when Clark and White were caught in a heated sideline exchange. Cameras captured every word, the visible frustration and intensity revealing just how deep their conflict had grown.
There is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Lineup inconsistencies made everything worse. Clark was returning from injury, still trying to find her rhythm. Damaris Dantas had just rejoined the team after national duty, and the constant changes shattered their chemistry. The Fever struggled to establish consistent rotations or any real offensive flow. Players were still figuring out their roles as key pieces came and went. Offensive mishaps became painful to watch, missed shots piling up, turnovers killing promising possessions, and the fast break magic that defined Clark's game completely disappearing. Clark herself admitted, "I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game." Her shooting slump became a growing concern, though she remained unfazed. "I'm never going to stop shooting," she said, comparing her cold streaks to those of Steph Curry. The breaking point came when the Fever finally snapped their losing streak against Atlanta. They won that night, but the tension between Clark and White didn't fade. The philosophical divide wasn't solved. It was simply put on hold.
It can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then I look at the box and it's like, I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I can do.
The Dallas game became the ultimate test. Would Coach White finally unleash Clark's preferred style, or would their philosophical divide continue to hold the team back? This internal battle set the stage for the perfect storm. Facing Buchers, Clark was desperate to prove that her up-tempo approach could work at the professional level. Then something magical happened. Stephanie White finally gave Clark exactly what she'd been asking for. Against Dallas, White made a pivotal decision. She handed Clark full control of the tempo and the offense. This wasn't just a minor tweak. White completely shifted her approach, trusting Clark to lead the Fever at her own pace.
Lee Aru the other night had a season-high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner. Dishing to Hull. Extra feed Clark. A deep 3. You bet! And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well. Right on the money to Mitchell.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown Fever.
Early in the game, it wasn't clear if this new strategy would pay off. Both teams spent the first quarter feeling each other out. The Fever looked solid, good, but not great, as they tried to find their rhythm. Clark focused on getting her teammates involved, but the real fireworks hadn't started yet. The Wings matched every run, keeping the game tight and competitive from the jump.
Here's Clark being hawked by Isaiah James. Clark sidestepping three is good. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful. Here's Clark off the screen, through the lane, feeds Howard. Another assist for Clark. That's 13 as Howard is up to 18 points.
Then came the explosive second quarter, when everything finally clicked. Clark started pushing the pace like never before, threading those full-court lasers fans call touchdown passes. The Fever erupted for an incredible 36 points in that quarter alone, outscoring Dallas by 21 in just 10 minutes. This wasn't just good basketball. This was poetry in motion.
And he actually brought up stat from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell. A tenacious start from Caitlin Clark. Here's Agumbawale off on a three. Long rebound. Mitchell, you're not going to catch her. Kelsey Mitchell in for two. They elevate each other because of how hard they compete. Nice look. Aaliyah Boston with a gorgeous dime to Kelsey Mitchell.
Clark's teammates responded to her leadership in spectacular fashion. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire, dropping 20 points on 8 of 12 shooting and extending her double-digit scoring streak to 21 straight games. She was hitting from everywhere, completely feeding off Clark's energy and tempo. Natasha Howard ran the floor like a gazelle, pouring in 18 points on an ultra-efficient 8 of 9 shooting. She looked unstoppable, attacking the rim with confidence and power. Meanwhile, Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, using her size and strength to control the inside. She finished nearly every opportunity Clark created. The chemistry between Clark and Boston was flawless. Clark would draw defenders with her speed, then dish perfectly for easy baskets.
Mitchell bounces. Boston, one more time. This time, Mitchell delivering. And Boston up to 13 points. Indiana shooting 66%.
Here's what made this performance truly special. The Fever exploded for a franchise record 64 points in the first half, the most beautiful basketball they'd played all season. That mark broke the previous record of 63, set back in 2016 against the New York Liberty. The 64 points also stood as the highest scoring half by any WNBA team during the 2025 season. Indiana's 30 assists tied a franchise record, and 13 of those came from Clark. It was proof that when given freedom, she could elevate everyone around her. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was making her teammates better. The ball movement was electric. Every pass had purpose. Every possession felt dangerous. Off the bench, Sophie Cunningham provided the perfect spark, adding another scoring threat that made the Fever unstoppable. Cunningham tallied 13 points, including a driving layup that pushed her past 1,500 career points. Her energy and shooting gave Indiana a weapon Dallas simply couldn't contain.
Cunningham the rebound. Cunningham swiftly up the floor, finds Howard for two. Sophie Cunningham making a huge impact off the bench, and Dallas will take a timeout.
In this lineup, Natasha Howard is the quickest post player.
The second quarter's 36-point explosion tied for the third highest scoring quarter in Fever franchise history. Indiana shot a scorching 76.2% from the field during that stretch, going on a 33-9 run that lasted nearly 8 minutes. Dallas had no answers. The Wings looked exhausted and disoriented, completely overwhelmed by the Fever's relentless tempo. They simply couldn't keep up with Indiana's transition game. Clark's vision for fast-paced basketball was working to perfection, not just as a style, but as a winning formula. This wasn't merely a victory. It was proof that Clark's brand of basketball could dominate at the professional level. Coach White had finally unleashed the monster, and the results were historic.
Good dub. 2 in a row. 2 more to All-Star. Let's go.
W. Oh, Fever down, so you already know what's coming. Bow, bow, bow! On to the next.
Hell yeah! Can you use that one? Let's go, baby. Give your jersey to Kristen.
W. Now we gotta go get another one.
But here's the moment that will be remembered forever. Clark didn't just win. She made WNBA history. While dominating the game, she was quietly putting together a stat line that had only been achieved once before in league history. Clark was doing everything, scoring when needed, setting up teammates flawlessly, and then something special started happening on defense. As the game unfolded, the numbers kept climbing. Clark had 14 points, showing she could score efficiently without forcing shots. She tallied 13 assists, proving once again that she could elevate everyone around her. Then came the defensive magic. Clark began reading passing lanes like a mind reader, anticipating Dallas's next move before they even made it.
Inbounds. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful mid-range fadeaway from Caitlin Clark.
Here's the exact moment that made history. Clark recorded her 5th steal of the game, completing a stat line of 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals. With that, she became the only player in WNBA history to record this exact combination twice in her career, standing alone in the record books. But Clark's defensive impact went far beyond those 5 steals. She even added a crucial block that led directly to a fast break assist for Sophie Cunningham, a play that perfectly captured her awareness and ability to turn defense into instant offense. Clark was completely disrupting the Wings' rhythm. Her anticipation was surgical. Every possession felt dangerous when she was on the floor.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown, Fever.
Sophie Cunningham runs the route and puts her hand up in the air, gives Caitlin Clark the target, barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass, catch, in stride, finish. Beautiful basketball.
Paige Buchers and the Wings had no answer for Clark's complete game. The most telling stat? Eric Ogunbowl went 0 for 10 from the field, finishing with only 2 points. She's usually one of Dallas's top weapons, but Clark's defensive pressure, combined with the Fever's lockdown team defense, made her completely ineffective. That poor showing from a key player underscored Indiana's total dominance. The Wings tried to get physical with Clark, grabbing her off the ball and refusing to switch on screens. But the plan backfired. Clark used their aggression against them, finding open teammates, slicing through defenders, and finishing at the rim with ease. Every time they tried to slow her down, she made them pay. The final score, 102-83, said it all. Clark had answered every critic and silenced every doubter of her WNBA readiness. This wasn't just a good game. It was a statement performance, proof that Clark doesn't just belong among the league's elite. She's redefining what's possible at the professional level. The rivalry with Buchers had officially entered a new chapter, and Clark had written the opening pages in dominant fashion.
I feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball, which is a fast-paced style of basketball. They played Fever basketball for, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the game. And we have obviously seen this style of basketball, the style of basketball that we all know and love from the Indiana Fever, but we have only really seen it in short spurts. There have been so many games and so many times throughout this season where it feels like the Fever system is a slow-down basketball type of system. Their offense wasn't running smoothly, but in this game, they were playing quick. They were moving the ball around. They had so many points off of the fast break.
The prophecy is now complete. Caitlin Clark has proven she belongs among the WNBA's elite. while making history only she can claim. This blowout victory over Buchers and the Wings revealed the Fever's true potential when Clark is unleashed to play her style of basketball. Franchise records fell. Individual achievements piled up. But most importantly, the team chemistry finally clicked once Coach White trusted Clark's vision. With the second half of 2025 approaching and this rivalry entering its professional chapter, basketball fans have every reason to be excited for what's next. The Fever now face tough road matchups against Connecticut and New York, real tests for this new version of Indiana. If you're hyped about the Fever's resurgence and Clark's record-breaking night, drop a CC record breaker in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss what comes next. Click the video on screen, and we'll see you in the next one.